radios frequency in use, W7MS.
Good morning, Mike. From U6F.
Well, hello, Ron. Happy snow day. It also must have been windy last night. I'm looking at these big clumps of tumbleweeds on my lawn. It's just so wintry.
So being a snow day, are we going to have to go to school tomorrow?
Well, you asked for it. I think I'm already attending the School of Hard Knocks.
Okay.
W6CY.
And hello, Jerry.
Hello, Mike. Boy, you're pounding into Forest Ranch today, both of you.
Well, good morning to you, and what say, Ron?
Yeah, good morning, Jerry. All right, so far so good. No, I haven't got that grunge interference every 10 kc, and the RAL is sounding crisp and clear. Yeah, so much for the mother of all storms. I expected to see 3 to 6 inches, and yeah, there's an inch, that's it. And it's pretty wet. I was hoping it would be a little bit colder. But it didn't stick to the antenna, so the antenna's doing fine. All right, let's see, is it Henry this morning, or is it Chuck this morning for net control, NU6F?
Well, I believe it's Chuck, and good on you, Ron. That's the first thing I did was take a look at the any rime buildup, and yeah, 0 here, which is good news because I'm not in the mood to go out and do a shake.
Yeah, yeah. When it's at this point, it's not affecting the antenna, and as warm it is, maybe it'll just be rain later today and clean itself off, and no shoveling required. Well, okay, good deal. I hear we got the other guys there this morning, and actually they sounded really clean on the RAL. Not much else to do. I started out with that creeping crud cold that's going around last week, and it's still here. So thank goodness for little petri dishes on legs. There's my niece's kid, the baby. She's been bringing everything home from preschool and passing it around. So, but it's just a nuisance cold, nothing else. Okay, standing by, and your success. Hey, there's Curry Mountain, and here's your TDE on the other side.
And Andy's been up all night.
He's been here on the air work along.
Yeah, it's been chugging along. I think, let's see, another week, it will be 1 year on the new generator, and it is just humming along, so knock on wood.
All right, well, hang on. Watch out for your jinx on that one. Is that too loud, right?
Yeah, Ixnay on the wood snay.
Well, has the band opened up yet? This is W6 Able, Queen.
Well, now that the big Skyhook is producing RF, and good morning, Bob, and let's find out what Jerry's up to. What's the temperature in the radio room, and also what's the snowfall? Probably just rain for you guys.
Yeah, that's it. We're warm compared to sounds like over there. It's let's see, it's 52 in the shack here and 42 outside. Just been unusually warmer temperatures, but this is the stuff that's coming up, from the LA area and then down there, kind of sweeps up this way. Normally we get it get the stuff from up north and so on, but it's not coming down here. But anyway, talked to a guy yesterday in Fairbanks, and I think he said it was about 40 degrees below zero in Fairbanks.
Yikes. And good morning, Andy. Nice to hear you. W7MS.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mike. Also good to hear you.
16 Bravo, Bravo Tango.
There's Bill with a big signal today.
N6 Bravo, Bravo Tango, going to check in.
Well, Bill, I think we're still waiting for Chuck. He's net control this morning, but I hear you in Reno. Good morning, W7MS.
Good morning, guys. I'm here. I've been listening, and oh boy, got some SWR, even like quad antenna. Let's see. Okay, I'll have to look. Is my signal any good, fellas?
20 over in my location.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was getting out all right. A little late getting to the desk here. I got about a watt of reflective power, but anyway, I've been listening. I told all you guys, I've got you down on paper here. So I guess we got enough fellas, we can go ahead and get the net started. The Vintage Military Radio Net is a roundtable AM net that provides an opportunity for licensed hams to operate their vintage military radio gear on the air. Military gear is encouraged, certainly not a requirement, but check-ins will be given a number that can be used in the handoff, and I'll call for check-ins at the end of each roundtable session. And if anybody has anything for sale or has a want for anything, please mention it during your turn in the roundtable session. So this is K0DWC Chuck, and I'm your net control today. And the list, as I have it from who I've heard, in the number one spot, I've got Ron, AU6F. Good morning, Ron. In the number two spot, I got Mike, W7MS. Good morning, Mike. In the three spot, I got Jerry, W6JRY. Good morning, Jerry. In the fourth spot is Andy, KD6TKX. Good morning, Andy. Good to have you this morning. In the five spot is Bob, W6AQU. Good morning, Bob. And in the sixth spot is Bill, N6BCT. Good morning, Bill. So number 7 is open. If anybody wants to check in for the first round, you can come now.
WA7YBS. W6SSP.
Okay, all right. Well, I got Henry. Good morning, Henry. WA7YBS. I've got you in the number 7 spot, sir. And Steve, W6SSP, is in the number 8 spot. Good morning, Steve. Is there anyone else that'd like to check in right now? If not, I'll wait until the tail end of the first round, and I'll call for check-ins there on the tail end. Anybody want to be number 9? Come now.
W7MKA.
I heard somebody, but boy, there was some noise behind him. Anybody pick that up?
Sounded like Robert, W6MKA, but there's somebody tuning up also.
W6MKA, Robert, is that you? Over.
Yeah, I was in there. There's another carrier on top of me, I think. Over.
Okay, you're coming in good now. Yeah, I can hear you, W6MKA. Okay, Robert, I've got you in the 9 spot, sir. Good to have you this morning. Is there anybody that would like to be number 10? Come now, please. Okay, there's Rich, K6QK. Good morning, Rich. I've got you in the 10 spot. Good signal this morning. Anyone else want to check NB number 11? Come now. Okay, nothing heard, so I'll go through the list one more time with just the call signs. Number 1, NU6F. Number 2, W7MS. Number 3, W6JRY. Number 4, KD6TKX. Number 5, W6AQU. Number 6 is N6BCT. Number 7 is WA7YBS. Number 8 is W6SSP. Number 9 is W6MKA. And number 10 is KD6QK. That's the list as I have it. So good morning to all again, and pretty good signals considering the weather. We've got a little bit of a dusting out here, maybe a half inch at the most right now anyway. There's a little bit of snow falling here at my QTH in Dayton. I would think maybe Henry's got a little bit falling too, but so far not too bad. Anyway, we're on the standard net control station this morning, ART13, 200 watts, and I got about a watt of reflected power, so we're listening on the ARR7 with the D104 and inverted V. I had to go out there and knock the snow off the ladder line, but I'll have to keep monitoring that as the snow progresses. So anyway, we'll go up to the top and start first round. So Ron, NU6F, go ahead and take it.
Okay, good deal. Well, great copy this morning on everybody. So good to hear Mike, Jerry, and Andy, Bob, Bill, Henry. And Henry, thanks for the Dogfight QSL card. Looks cool. Steve and Robert up north of Grants Pass, and Rich. Okay, guys. Yeah, I'm running the TDE into the amp, so I've got a 150 watts carrier, and the receiver is the RAL5 RCA contract 1939, and the 170 foot long wire with a dusting of snow. There's probably about an inch of snow, and it's kind of wet, so I think it's going to disappear later today. Okay, with that, the other North Valley Reno resident, W7MS, NU6F.
Well, thank you, Ron, and I appreciate your optimism for the great snowmelt. Well, let's see what happens. And I'm not gonna lay down any money on that bet, but I'm betting on your side. NU6F, W7MS, Mike and Reno. Good morning to all. And before I forget, thanks to Henry and Chuck for the QSL card in the event last week. Nice card, and something else to add to the official wallpaper collection. Thank you much. This morning running the easy stuff, and that's the Collins 30K5. Listening on a Rockwell Collins 851 S1 and the usual D104 microphone, but the one with the dual MOSFET op-amp option from K0SF back in the 90s. So that's the short run here. We'll keep it running. And good morning to all. So far, great reception with a question mark for Rich and Fallon. I did not hear him, but that may have been my issue on my end. I'm not sure. So over to Jerry, and great to hear Jerry this morning. W6JRY, W7MS.
Okay. Get some feedback from across the room from another receiver over here. So, hang on just a second. I'm still getting that. I don't know what that is, but I'll check that out. Good morning to everybody. Everybody's coming in here good, and I wanted to check out some microphones on another radio, and I got something. Anyway, good morning to all. Henry, thanks for the card that came in the mail. Appreciate it, and nice layout there and everything. Everybody good signals here, copy from quiet, and no problems at all. Warm weather here compared to over in the Nevada area here. We've got 52 in the shack and 42 outside here. Moving along, winner goes to Andy. Good morning to you, Andy, and coming in here right up here in Forest Ranch. TKX in the group, W6JR1.
Great, thank you, W6JR right in the military radio group, K0DWC here. Well, good signals here so far, and good to hear everyone this morning. It's a sprinkle of rain out there. It's the age of weather hysteria. Every time there's a rainstorm, they say you should go out and build your ark. This is going to be the big one. And then you get a little sprinkle, so we'll call it a rainstorm, I guess. Run into KW1 this morning with the 75A4. My 610 was doing its intermittent audio deal, so I was really doing that dance this morning, so put on the other rig. So can't really stretch the KW1 into a military rig, but there are military rigs in the area where it's operating, so that's going to be my best bet, I think. Bob, up to you, W6AQU. This is K0DWC
Well, thanks. Good morning to you down there in Curry Mountain. This is W6AQU up here in Montague. Temperature's 32. No rain, no snow. The sun could come up. Yeah, they talk about it, and when they talk about it, it never happens, right, Andy? Okay, over to Half Moon Bay, N6, BCT. Who's loud and clear this morning? This is W6AQU.
Bravo, and Half Day. Thanks for heading for the 4 o'clock ride. I think your car is going to be in the middle of the handle. Close left. The left one comes in the mailbox. I'm going to send a tracking report to Frank that he took MIT. When I get around to getting his elbows again straightened up, I was lost at someplace. So when I talk to him, I'll get his address and send it to him. All right. So I need to send it and make a picture of it so I can send it to John. So that's right there. And it's very, very okay. Bravo, Bravo. Okay. All right. And I forgot to turn the scope on. Oh, well, we'll just wing it here. And, good morning to all. WA7YBS, Henry and Dayton. Everybody's coming in very strong. Q5 S100. Peg in the meter. Mike and Chuck and Ron were pegging the S meter, so very good. I did not hear Rich either, KE62K. He must be off frequency somewhat. Normally he's pretty strong in here. And Robert, W7 MKA, was very, very nice copy in here. Steve, very strong. Bill, strong. Bob, Andy, Jerry, everybody doing a good job in here. And let's see. Well, Viking won. And so this is its second run to see, how what's going to do. And about 100 watts. Man, that's all I could squeeze out of 3 different 4032s. I just can't seem to get much of it. If I can get over 100 watts, it's like maybe 1 watt over 100 watts. doesn't really matter. I think that anywhere around there is sufficient and probably believable. And so anyway, it's as I told the story before, this is the one that the Viking one that I built for Tom, W7 TC. And so it's actually a composite, I guess you'd call it, of 3 different Viking ones. So interesting deal on that. And the shakedown of the receiver, the NC183, no D. This is a 1948 model, and so it's like, it looks like the NC183D, except it's got the yellow dials and are backlit, and same with the S meter. And of course it's only got 2 IF amplifiers instead of 3, and it's not double conversion, and all of the 1940 stuff that you'd expect from a pre-war, pre-Korean War, post-World War II design. It was 1952 when they took the NC183 and really redesigned it into the NC183D. That is quite a different receiver. So anyway, that's what everybody's coming in just terrific on the NC183. So with that, let's run it over to Steve. W6SS. Snow-wise, yeah, just a dust in here. If I searched around, I maybe could find a ½ inch. The sidewalks don't have hardly anything, around the house or anything, but out in the brush and stuff, well, you can see some, but it's, it's very, 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 very light. So that's 29 degrees this morning. Over to Steve, W6SSP, WA7, YBS.
Okay, Henry, I think you turned it over to me. WA7 YBS, W6SSP, let me check. Yeah, I think I got it. Anyway, good morning, everybody. This is Steve, kind of watching the antenna. Hope it stays up for the duration of the net. You see, we're getting some pretty good wind gusts here. Not a whole lot of rain, but mostly wind. Anyway, the equipment today is Collins CG1. The receiver is R390A. And unlike the other 2 that I've been working on, which are Stuart Warner and have all matching modules in it, this thing is of mixed parentage. Front deck is DAC, and the plate on the gearbox is Stuart Warner. The power supply is Collins. The IF deck is Motorola. I forgot what the audio section is, but it's different. So I call this R390A the mutt. And like Henry says, his experience is very good. R390A is a mixed parentage, works the best, and that's definitely the case with this one. It works better than the other 2. So that was a surprise. Anyway, I have a request today also, while conditions are still good. If anybody has a manual R808 receiver, I think these are made by Fennel. I'd like to talk to you. I'd like to at least get a schematic and maybe alignment information for that. So if anybody has one, drop me an email or let me know. Anyway, we'll send it over to Robert, W7MK, W6SSP.
All right, W6SSP in the group, W7MKA. Well, good signals all around. I think I've got 100% copies so far. And set up here, we're running the TCM Tango Charlie Mike transmitter with an RAS receiver, so it's a whole world of radio in front of me. And so a whole 60 watts or so. Okay, and all the rain and snow down south. I think we're too far north for all that. It was wall-to-wall sunshine here yesterday afternoon, so we got out and got a little yard work done for a change. That was good. Down to number 10, KE6QK to ticket, W7MKA. KE6QK. W7MS. Mike.
Am I on frequency? I had a hard time this morning getting on frequency. Am I on frequency, Michael?
You're just off on the edge of my pass band. I didn't have a chance to get to the radio, say if you're high or low, but you still need to tune up. But here's a carrier if you need to dial me in. But nice to hear you. It's been a couple weeks, W7MS.
Yeah, Roger. Well, I had a discrepancy here on the old CFO and versus the 7300 receiver here. I'm reading you on the 7300 as 3978, and I was trying to zero beat the old VX100B on that frequency. The VFO in there doesn't like to do that very well. Anyway, we're running the DX100B with a measured 100 watts output to an EFLW end-fed long wire, 18 feet high, straight out northwest. Receivers an IC7300, and that's the usual gear here. I apologize for not being on the air for quite a while. I had my wonderful 77th birthday, and I started having medical problems again, and it's a mental thing with me. I get very depressed and work with the doctors, but I just was off the air. I'm sorry. I love the network, and I'm feeling better now, and I'm going to try to support it. John Silver Springs texted me and told me to get my butt on the air, and we're back again on the air. And I saw the shootout on YouTube. I really enjoyed it. We had a really long one there, almost 2 hours long. And Michael, I got a kick of your 618T. That's the radio I used my whole Navy career, starting in 1971 to the late 80s. And I used it in the patrol airplanes, P3V, P3A, P3B, P3 Super B, and P3C. So we used that with originally with a CU-351 coupler, and later with a 490T coupler in the aircraft on a 62-foot ramp on top of the aircraft. So I got a kick out of it. Michael's using my airborne radio that I used all my life. Anyway, let me know on this frequency. I'll try to get on frequency with the old VX100. I don't know where I'm at right now. Okay, we'll take it. Where are we at here? Yeah, pick it up. K0DWC net control. Go ahead and start it over again. K0DWC KE6QK.
Quick comment for Rich. Yeah, Rich, you're up at 7.8, so you're creating issues for the folks up there. So please move to the DX100 and be on 7.4 W7MS.
Roger, will do.
Okay. Alrighty. K6QK, K0DWC. Alright, Rich. Well, belated happy birthday there, my friend. 77 years young. Alright. And, hey, listen, you don't ever have to apologize for not being here. At some time or another, all of us have done that. And, to quote Mike, W7MS, it's just amateur radio, Your health's a lot more important, and you have to do what you have to do, and definitely understandable. So no apologies are needed. So anyway, we're we're glad that you're back with us, and hope that your health issues continue to improve. So anyway, thank you for being here this morning with us, and I'm sure by now you're probably back on frequency. So, okay, well, let's see. Ron, big signal. Mike, big signal. Jerry, big signal. Andy, almost a big signal, but a great signal. I'll put it to you that way. Bob, great signal. Bill, Q5. Give John W6MIT our very best, will you? And tell him we hope he's doing all right and he's well. Henry, the Viking 1 just sounds so different. I knew you were on something different when you checked in, and I forgot about the Viking 1, and when you said that, and it all clicked and came together. It sounds pretty doggone good. It sounds different, but it sounds pretty good. So good to hear that back on. And Steve, big signal. Robert, big signal. And Rich, great signal. So I'm not having any problem hearing anybody. So I don't know. Maybe I got lucky and hit just the right spot. So let's see here, a couple of quick comments. Steve, that R390A Imperial, I don't know how many were made from each contract, but I haven't seen or heard very many of the Imperials on, in all the years. I don't know how many have been made under the Imperial name, but that's interesting, though, that you do have an Imperial R390A, even though it's got some mixed modules in it. That doesn't matter, but that's a pretty cool receiver, and there probably ain't very many of them around. They're keeping them well hid. And Robert, that TCM sounds really good. I think that's only the second one of those that I've ever heard on the air, so that was a treat to hear that. So good deal there. You're coming in loud and clear. So everybody's good, continues to be good right now, at least going into the second round. But we'll make a call out, see if there's anybody that would like to get in on the tail end and be number 11 on the first round. Come now.
Hey Chuck, this is QK. Am I on frequency?
Yeah, you're closer than you were. A lot closer. You sound good. Real good.
Okay, I re-zero beated.
Okay, all right, you're doing fine. I guess you're on the DX100B, I would assume so, but very good on that, and not a whole lot going on here radio-wise right now. I do have a project that I do want to do, maybe a little bit down the road, maybe about a month or so, but involving the Bendix gear. So I got to do some digging out of parts and stuff like that, and rebuild a dynamotor and some other stuff. So anyway, that's kind of what's going to be coming up here in the near future anyway. But right now there's not a whole lot going on. Just sitting out here looking out the window, looking at the weather. So looks like the snow kind of, it's just a very, very, very light mist. I don't know how cold it is out here, but it's cold. Yeah, it was cold when I went out with the horses and knocked the snow off the antenna. So anyway, all right, fellas, we'll go to the second round, and we'll go back up to the top. K0DWC Chuck. Go ahead and take it, Ron. It's K0DWC.
Okay, good deal there, Chuck. And signal's holding up. Everybody sounds great. And Rich, okay, on the the DX100 VFOs. Oh, how much we missed digital displays. But that's all part of the fun. Of course, I got here both receiver and transmitter here. There's no digital display. There's no frequency display. Just logging dials. That's it. Every frequency is just a number. And yeah, Robert? Boy, yeah, your signals are great down here off the TCM. And, yeah, it's too bad Tom OPE's not here. We have the double TCM net this morning. Steve, okay, on the Heinz 57 Imperial. Yeah, the R390 number 2, which was a semi-basket case, is also an Imperial, and I've got maybe half the modules, about half the modules are Imperial in that. I think this one was a 63 contract on this one. Henry, okay, from the Viking 1, yeah, I don't know if I've heard that before. And if I got that right, it was made from Frankenstein, from pieces of a couple of them. Robert, and let's see, Bill, good signal, copied most all of that. And Bob up in McGill, I guess you're going to be high and dry during the mother of all storms. Yeah, it's not amounting to much here. Hopefully, at least up in the Sierras, they're getting some good snowfall. It's what we depend on here. And Jerry, with the mystery receiver causing the feedback. Yeah, don't I know that? I look all around and everything's off. How can it be doing that? And then I realized I had the phone listening to the SDR. When I go grab a cup of coffee, I take the phone with me, listening to KFS, so I can keep up on the net. And Mike, yeah, it's nice to have a choice of radios. And in your case, the choice is almost unlimited. And then I'm waiting also for a check-in from Carla from with the cast iron skillet in the kitchen. Radio-wise projects, I have spent all week working on the bench with CMOS old 1980s vintage CMOS chips for the digital interface for the PRC 174, and having great success trying to duplicate the old front panel, and yeah, so far it's working really well. I'm not sure Tadaran and they're in Israel that was making these for so many years. All I've ever seen is the 100-watt amp they made for this. Supposedly it was a 500-watt amp. But they brought almost all the control signals out to the 66-pin plug on the front. And so it always was tempting to make a thumb wheel switch control. So using it on the bands was kind of clunky. But yeah, I've got my tunable shaft encoder, and then working on the band presets. One of the intricacies it had was every 10 kc on the thumb wheel switches, it would send a message to the antenna controller and the front end RF controller to retune. So I had to duplicate that. So I've got that going now. So the chip count continues, and I feel like I'm back in the old days, at least back in the 80s. Okay, with that, over to Mike, who remembers the 80s very well. W7MS and U6F.
Well, still laughing. Let me do a frequency check here. It drifted down about 125 hertz. I think we're okay, plus or minus. And I'm getting some feedback too, but maybe that's going to be in my surprise rig for round 3. I decided to fire something else up. But in the meantime, and that one's not going to lend itself to extended conversation, I believe, but we'll give it a shot here. But W7MS, good reception from all. Thanks, Chuck. We'll find out if Carla is working today or whether she's up to what Ron was speculating with. And Ron is Mr. Hardware Man with all those chips, and I'm sure he's static weary there. I don't think he has any wall-to-wall carpeting, but there's probably some source of issue there, and at least we have a little humidity to put a damper on any arcing and sparking. And Jerry, I guess you probably have figured out between now and your next transmission where this feedback was coming from, but yeah, I think we all had, I know I had similar issues last week with multiple radios and forgetting to turn the volume down, even though there may not be an antenna connected. There's that near field issue, so we'll await that. Andy sounded great on the KW1. There was a significant difference in audio quality, as one would appreciate, but we know you're on the big rock crusher. And good morning to Bob and Montague. I guess we'll get a further report on maybe dogs and what you've seen on the webcams that you set up and what's going on out there in the countryside. And good morning to Bill. Great to hear Henry on Tom's old Viking 1, a classic, beautiful, classic appearing transmitter as opposed to the Viking 2. Enough said. Don't want to. I've already offended Viking 2 owners on numerous occasions, but Viking 1 is really a beautifully vintage-looking radio. And Steve, yeah, fine on the Imperial. Glad to know you're getting a lot of upper body workout. Hopefully, it's all good, and you're not on any pain relievers for hauling all that stuff around. But good job on the Heinz 57. And Robert, great to hear you this morning. We've also missed you. But I know it's also a matter of propagation and also maybe frequency activity since you're the farthest north station. And Rich, yeah, great to hear you on frequency, doing great. Great for the comments on the 618T and the 490T1s couple and the various generation of couplers. I think I've got them all in various, laying around in various piles of stuff. And their connection to the P3, which leads me to my project, and that's my depot refurb of my Collins KWM2A, which of course was military derived, and I'm sorry I forget the military designation, but that's on the bench. I've had it for 29 years. Had it on the air a week or two ago and decided that maybe it was time to do a revisit, if nothing else, to blow the dust out and put some and clean the pots, especially the Mike Gain pot in that puppy. And the linkage to that is that was purchased back in before kids in this neighborhood from Buzz Miller, who preceded my arrival. He died, so we were never actually officially neighbors, but he was down the road. A very fervent military vehicle restoration guy. He had quite a shop in the back of the house there. Drive by it every day on Golden Valley Drive. And also, he was a P3 radio operator back with the New York Air Guard back in the early 1960s. And there's some pictures of Buzz in his radio position back in the day in the P3. So that's linkage to also what Rich said. And glad you're feeling better, Rich, because you were a topic of conversation. I think which initiated that reach out from John. I was wondering what, hadn't heard you in a couple of weeks and asked him if he knew what was going on. So great to hear you this morning. And yeah, we all enjoy this net and the folks on frequency here. So with that, over to Forest Ranch, W6JRY, W7MS.
Okay, thank you, Mike. W7MS and the group W6JRY. Still good signals from everybody. Everybody just coming in here great. And a lot to comment on. You're trying to run through here what I've gotten written down here, if I can read it. Not too many projects being worked on around here, just due to the military area. The equipment is in a very cold area over here. I do have a little small space in one corner where I can run a little small stove where my more modern equipment is, and so we do that. I didn't mention that I'm on the ATD ART-13 today, RBM receiver, and same antenna, so on, Delta loop and whatnot. And let's see. Anyway, what I would like to do, if I can do it here, is see if I can check out some T17 microphones on my portable SCR274N that I tried to put on the air last week, and it had been sitting around for a number of years, and apparently some audio issues. So I want to see if I can tell if it's a microphone problem, or I have 3 T17 microphones I'd like to try, so just stand by a minute and I'll go through 1, 2, and 3, and then I'll come back on this radio, if you'll bear with me. So stand by.
Okay, here's microphone number 2. Whether it's doing anything or not, I don't know. And 1, 2, 3, 4, microphone number 2. And now I'm going to try microphone number 3. Stand by. This is microphone number 3. Which I think should be the best microphone, but I still don't know if there's enough audio on here. This is a portable SCR274 all together in a portable arrangement. And somewhere along the line, maybe somewhere, either the microphone situation, or I wanted to kind of separate it between the mic and maybe a problem spot. Perhaps if they use command equipment or problem, and I've had trouble with that kind of thing before. So if I can get some reports on that, hopefully this mic is a little bit better. I'm going to go back to the ARG13. Stand by, and I'll be back to the
here. Alright, looks like we're back where we should be. Alright, W6JRY back on the ARG13 RBM. Sorry about all that monkeying around, but anyway, if I get reports, I don't know if you've even heard me very well on that thing. It was 15 watts output on the SCR274N command setup, and we don't know about the audio. So, Dave, I don't know what you're running there. Andy, great on the KW, the one that you're using there. Mike, yeah, it's a long time since I heard a KWM2. Nice little radio. Never got my hands on one of those. In fact, I didn't really start collecting things too well until I moved to Forest Ranch. Let's see, it's been 42 years, I think. When I was in Chico, we had a very small area, and things kind of went through. I didn't have storage area down there, but I have more room here. So anyway, that's enough time out of me, and I'll send it to Andy there. And Andy, I don't know if you heard me on the SCR274N equipment, but if you did, maybe you could give me a microphone report. Anybody else that heard me on there? So, KD6TKX in the group, W6JRY.
W6JRY in the military radio group. Here is
kilowatt, Delta 6, Tango Kilo X-ray. Very good. Well, Gary, I'll go ahead. You were super loud on the 274N. Surprised to hear it was just 15 watts. For the microphones, number 1, I gave it an F. Those are school grades, and I'm more familiar with the lower ones here, but mic number 1, I gave it an F. Number 2, I gave it a D. And number 3, I give it a B-. So that's about as scientific as I get. But the first two were dramatically lacking in audio. The last one was audible, but still not fully modulated. So it sounds like you got a handle on it, and there was a difference between the microphones. So that might answer your question there. Well, good deal on the TRC 174. I monkeyed around with those for a while, and a neat radio, kind of underrated, I thought. But neat, and so good on you for working on it. I think I changed some capacities in the power supply was as far as I got with that one. Mike, Viking 1 versus 2, I'm with you. Viking 1, I think it's way better. And as far as appearance, not anything else. Yeah, I've never owned either one, but always liked the way the Viking 1 looks better. And let's see here. Henry, I heard a crackling on your signal when you first came on. Not super loud, but it was definitely there. And I didn't know if that was an antenna issue or something else, but it seemed to clear up as your transmission went on. And Robert, super loud. Loudest I've ever heard you, actually. You're very good on the TCM RAS station. I had that exact lineup back in, 92, 93. I'll dig out a picture if I can find it and send it to you, but what a great combination. I actually had the TCM split up at one time, too, so I had the TCM right on the desk next to the RAS, and as you said, it's a wall of radio, so great to hear you. Rich, good to hear you as well. Good signal up here. Steve blasting in. Bill, nice and loud from Half Moon Bay. And Bob up in Montague, home of MOG. That's all I could think about whenever I hear you mention your QTH. So, NDB nerd on this end for sure. Sorry I missed the shootout. I was out backpacking with my daughter, and I realized that once I moved out to the ranch here, I kind of quit backpacking. Which is, I'm not sure why, but I think maybe it's better to sleep in a bed and have warm breakfast. Maybe that could be part of it. But my youngest daughter, who's 29, came back from Spain where she'd been living for a number of years and was crazy about going backpacking. So I said, okay. So we were out backpacking last weekend. We're going to go out again, not next weekend, but the weekend after that. And I'll be bringing HF radio gear with me. So I may attempt a low-power check-in, and I'll let you guys know ahead of time if that's going to happen so you can bend an ear for my little signal from the wilderness there. Let's see. Yeah, that's what's been going on here. I've got some newer radios that are cycling through as my focus on collecting becomes more and more blurred. But it's all a lot of fun, isn't it? Can't have too many radios. Or wait, can you? So up to you, Bob, with a great signal here at night. Here as always, W6AQU. This is KD6 TKX.
Very good, Andy. KD6 TKX. Prairie Mountain, W6 Able, Queen Uncle, Montague.
We're kind of cheating here. We're using
a modern radio, driving a single 300A. And, whatever, couple of 100 watts. Well, a number of comments here. JRY. Yeah, I copied your Q5 on all of those mics, but that's only because there was no interference, and even though you've only got an S3 signal, but I'd hate to have to do much copying on that number 1 and 2. Number 3, I could probably live with that. So there you go. Amazing. Well, let's say, YBS. Number 1, thank you for the card. Number 2 is that Viking 1, or parts of, the one that was there that TC had when we were there that time. I'm thinking that might have been. And Grants Pass. Fantastic audio this morning there, Robert. I don't think I've ever heard you that good with your audio. Very good. And Rich up there, well, once you get the numbers all dialed up, kind of difficult, isn't it, on one of those kind of VFOs? But it sounds good when you got it right on the money. There was some comment about a T368. I don't know why I was right, but I did have mine on yesterday and participated in the AM rally in the middle of the day on 3870. The group up north. There was quite a few AM rally activity. And Mike on the dogs. We have a lot of fun on our last trip to Medford. We had one camera set up in the living room of the house. And to play with the dogs on the camera and the speaker when you're a long ways away and talk to them, drive them crazy. Where are you? Anyhow, so much for that. I guess that's the comments that I have right now. So, next station, Half Moon Bay, BCT. Take it away, Bill. W6 Able. Green Uncle.
Okay. Tweaking, looking at the scope, all that stuff. Wonderful. Okay. A very good copy on everybody. And, yeah, this is the one that you probably saw there. This is the one that Tom, DC, had that 6 dB attenuator between it and that Thunderbolt. And, it was 2008, 16 years ago that I built this up for him. And then, sat around there, stand by. Yeah, the snow on the feed line is acting up, but it's just SWR. We shouldn't have a problem. And, okay, but yeah, it's the same one. And, so, there we go. Jerry on the microphones, I like the grades. That was very good at relating exactly how the mics did. Yeah, 1 was terrible. 2 was a little better, but just a little. But number 3 was pretty good. And, T17s are just, that's the way they are. And number 3 was the best. And that was, if you modulated it probably, if I had to guess, I'd say 50-60% with number 3. So anyway, that's the microphone rundown. And let's see, as far as this receiver that I'm using, this maiden voyage, I should say, of the NC-183. The 183Ds are pretty popular because they have really high fidelity audio, and then they're a pretty good receiver too. Double conversion on the higher bands, and then 2 RF amplifiers, 3 IF amplifiers. So it's a pretty good receiver. And of course, this 1948 NC-183 is just kind of the first design phase, shall we say. Light gray color, gray knobs, and yellow dials. And so otherwise this kid's very familiar with me from the front. But the chassis is quite different. And this is a total rebuild. Oh, was it bad? It was bad. And I think the guy probably smoked 5 packs of cigarettes a day, and he blew the smoke directly into radio. And And then on top of that, he greased everything and used luber plate. So, and I mean everything, even the band switch was greased. So, I mean, that took a lot of deoxit to get the luber plate off the band switch. I mean, he greased the contacts of the band switch, so that was interesting. The other thing that was interesting was the 2-watt screen load resistors that had swelled up. The guy absolutely refused to change the capacitors, but he would change the resistors that go to higher values as far as the dissipation. And I guess that'll work for a while, but definitely the caps were shot in this one. In fact, there's 4 Bakelite, like Mica Moles there. Mica Moles, they're Aerovoxes, but same style, that Bakelite package that they used, and those 3 of them had split apart. So it was in need of a lot of help. So anyway, that's to run down all the excitement on this receiver. So with that, on the Imperials and on mutts, yeah, I found because you kind of pay attention to each of the modules, and you're trying to get a good module to build up an R398, you end up getting the best of the modules into a mutt, and they tend to work better because of that. Whereas if you have, all Stuart Warner, for instance, you try to maintain all of the Stuart Warner modules to keep it, all matching modules, and maybe it's not quite as good. The mutts seem to work better. At least that's what I think. Over to Steve, W6SSP, WA7YDS.
Okay, Henry. W6SSP.
Yeah, boy, I'm dealing with a very, very high level of power line noise. Seems like the storm is blowing a branch over the high voltage line or something like that, but it's messing up everybody. That's the way it goes. Still heavy rain here and occasionally very high gusts of wind. So, but the antenna's still up with SWR. And very good on the Viking 1, Henry. When I heard you the first pass, sounded really good. It sounded just like the Viking 1. And yeah, they're very nice radios. The neat thing about those is they used a lot of the top quality Johnson parts that were surplus from World War II. And as you know, Johnson used less and less of those as time went by. But the Viking 1 is really the prize of the game, followed by the Valiant, I think. Anyway, and Chuck, the Imperials are fairly rare. Very fortunate to have 2 of them. The first one I got was brand new in the box. I removed it from the box myself. And interesting thing about it, it was very light. I didn't realize till I got it home and took the covers off. The power supply and audio module were missing. And apparently they were shipped separately because all the connectors were wrapped up beautifully. And never been plugged in before, except probably for testing. So that's pretty cool. The one I'd like to find is the one made by K0DWC Cosmetics from the Texas. But those are quite rare. And I'm glad I'll ever see one of those. Andy, the KW1 sounds fantastic. It looks like it sounds really good when the noise goes away. Let's see, one thing I wanted to mention, for purpose of using 1930s and 40s stuff, which most of us do, came across a really interesting piece of test equipment last weekend at the CHRS swap. And that is the OQ3, that's Oscar Quebec 3 tube tester. And you can look that up on Nick's Navy site. He's got several good pictures of it. It's a pretty old tube tester in a beautiful solid walnut case. You open it up and it smells like the inside of a wine barrel. And the cool thing about it is it uses pack ports from the filament and cathode and grid plate terminals of the tube tester to the tube cycle panel. Even though it'll test tubes, most of the octos and even the octo tubes.
different stops there. I think the remaining flights at Q1. So they were definitely used in World War II, and probably used in the World War I CMC series, along with other stuff, other period. So if you guys come across one of these, they're really interesting, 3 meters and beautifully built like most Western tube testers were. So I think that's about it for me. I'm going to sign because I'm not hearing people right now. And see you all next weekend. So over to Robert, W7MKA. W6SSP 73 all.
All right, W6SSP in the group, W7MKA. Yeah, I think I'm also going to make this my final. And my final speed here. I think it was MS comment about the Viking 1 and 2. I'm completely with you there. I've had both, and it seems like the Viking 1 is superior in every way. The cosmetics, most definitely. J.R. White and microphones, I'll second the other comments. We copied you on all 3, but the third one's definitely the best. It didn't seem like any of them had audio to match your carrier. But there was copy here on the 15 watts or whatever. And thanks for the audio reports on the TCM. We're just using a T32 carbon mic, so in the stock suppressor modulation of the 803. So that's the setup here. And that will be 7.3, and maybe catch you all next week. Down to Rich, K6QK to take it, W7MKA.
Yeah, W7MKA in the group. This is KE6QK. Well, we're still hearing everybody. Temperature this morning was 33. Just a showering of white stuff. In fact, it melted when it hit the deck. Anyway, where I got thrown off this morning, I have a digital reader here on the DX100B, and I'm reading 3974. 3974.455, and I should have looked at that, but I zero-beated the IC7300, the newer radio here, and I can't figure out. It's reading 3978. So when I zero-beated the DX100 on the 7300, it put me way up in frequency. I don't know why. I'm not used to using the 7300 on ancient modulation, so I'm going to have to take a look at that on the dummy load, see what's going on there. Anyway, the shootout was great, guys. Like I said, I listened to that whole thing. You went about 2 hours, and John sent me the YouTube link so I could put it on my big screen and see his digital readout and listen to the whole thing. Very impressive. What I'm getting out of this, guys, I got my novice in 1961. During Vietnam, when I went in the Navy, I didn't have to pick up a rifle and go to the rice paddies. I was an excellent CW operator, probably 25 when I was a child. And I went right into naval communications. Very interesting, and I love my ham radio and communications, but I wanted a career in electronics, so I only spent 4 years as a flying radioman. In that period, as a radioman, I used a lot of the equipment you guys talk about. That's where I get my kick here. I've used the TED, the RED, the TCS, WRT-1s, WRT-2s, in aviation, ARC-52s, ARC-51 alphas. Early in my radioman days, I had an SP-600, and the military switched over to the R-390A, which I used then. Then later on, I switched over to aviation and got into the aviation electronics, got my broadcast first-class commercial license, and I switched over to aviation. Worked the rest of the 28 years, first as a radioman, then an in-flight technician, then a crew chief on the P3. All versions. I've flown all versions of the P3. Also, I had a 5-year tour. Love Lockheed. I moved over to the Tacoma airplane, EC-130Q. IFT on that and supervisor. We had a 220,000 watt VLF transmitter, which we talked to submarines on. And Michael, you got me again today, the KWM-2A. I used to carry, I had 5 of them in the squadron. I would carry a KWM-2A on the aircraft because we were secret deployments with the airplane. We'd pop up all over the Western Pacific. And, you know, if I didn't have the airplane, I had the KWM-2A and a box full of wires and stuff. I could set up a military HF station just about on any island in the Pacific if we were in that area. And boy, the KWM-2A was near and dear to my heart. But later on, I hadn't seen one for 40 or 50 years. So that's very interesting. Anyway, I'll be back. I'm feeling better. The doctors scare me. They try to tell me I have the big C, and I tell them I don't have the big C, but they keep harassing me about it. So I'm hoping I don't have it. I'm sure I don't. But it's mentally depressing. It kind of, I kind of give up on stuff when the doctors harass me too much. Anyway, I'll be on next time. And golly, thank you guys. You're all in the 8 to 9, 5 over. And after the net, Michael, I want one radio check after the net's cleared. I want to try something from this location. And that's all I have. I'll go back to Chuck, K0DWC, and the group KE6QK. Pick it up.
Okay, Rich, KE6QK, K0DWC. Well, that's quite a stellar career that you had. Very interesting to say the least, that's for sure. And we're glad to have you here on our net. So, you know, you're one of the regulars now, so I just wanted you to know that. So anyway, congratulations on a great career in the military. Okay, fellas, let me see if there's anybody else that would like to check in on the tail end of the second round. Like to be number 11. Come now.
Whiskey 4, Delta Victor, Quebec.
Ah, there's Carla. I guess we're going to get a menu. Okay, Carla, W4DVQ, take it.
Okay, K0DWC, this is Whiskey 4, Delta Victor, Quebec. I'm going to, first I'll say Steve and Robert, 73s. I've been listening, and guys, I know this is weird, but I want a shout out for the menu this morning. So, I either have a breakfast sandwich, which is bacon, egg, and cheese on toasted bread sandwich, and there's fried potatoes or hash browns, bacon, grits, toast, pancakes, eggs, but I have no biscuits and gravy this morning. So, with that, through your transmissions on the next round, give me a shout out what you would prefer for breakfast or what Chuck should have. So back to net control. K0DWC, this is Whiskey 4, Delta Victor, Quebec.
Okay. Everybody wants to know why I'm a ton of fun. Yeah, right. Oh, Lord. Okay, Carla. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I guess we will do the 7-3 round, and so I can go back in the kitchen and stuff myself. So anyway, guys, that was fun, Carla. Anyway, we'll do the 7-3 round now, guys, and we'll go back up to the top to Ron, NU6F in the group. And 7-3s to Steve and Robert as well. So NU6F, K0DWC. Go ahead, Ron.
Okay, good deal, guys. Well, yeah, signals are starting to fade out a bit, and I've got my noise at my every 15 or 10-15 kc grunge noise from some neighbor's appliance, and it showed back up again, so I can hear a little heterodyne on everybody. But anyhow, good copy otherwise. Carla, I think you should give Chuck a granola bar and a cup of coffee, and you can have the fried potatoes and eggs. That's my suggestion. Let's see. Now we'll run down Chuck as far as on Larry's M37. We spent some more time on that. We got the fuel system pretty well fixed up. Worked on the tank. Had an electric fuel pump. The original one was working, but I had to take the carburetor needle out, flow needle, for it to even really feed consistently. So rather than rebuilding that, we just added electric fuel pump back at the tank. So Larry's pumped on that. He got some more parts. We ordered some brake lines, so that'll be the next thing is to add some brakes to it, which would be kind of nice. And Mike, okay, stand by for the audio check with Rich. And Rich, good deal on your career rundown. I was Navy, not radioman, ET. So I worked on the stuff, but never used it. Just into a dummy load or tune up on the antenna or the ship's SRA-56 couplers. Seem to be the most boring work around was the antenna couplers, but anyhow, it is what it is. And yeah, Mike, and then on the KWM-2A, yeah, having had it long enough that it needs another rebuild. Well, that's the way it goes. It's a constant cycling of maintenance, like everything in life anymore nowadays. And Rich, talking about maintenance, yeah, hope you get some good news on the health issues there from the doc. So, yeah, ignore what they say and take care of what you have to. But yeah, we're all at the high maintenance stage. And let's see, I'm trying to think what else Joey was going to say. Oh, okay, on the and you got the mic feedback on that. It was pretty light copy here on your carrier, but yeah, like everyone said, number 3 had more audio, so it was much more copyable. Andy, good deal. I'm backpacking with the daughter. Maybe you fill me in on what new motorcycle have you got? It's been a while. It's time to get another one. And Bob, okay, on the remote camera, talking to the dogs. I've got the remote camera over there in the Azores on the island at the house, and every now and then I'll get the motion sense message, and I'll look, it'll be my neighbor, or I've got another friend that sprays the weeds and stuff around the house. I'll put the microphone on and shout out. They'll spin around and look and start laughing and look at the camera, so I get a kick out of that. And Henry, okay, on the Viking one, you know, I've forgotten what it looked like compared to the two I looked. Yeah, definitely much more classic looking rig. Steve, 73s. Robert, yeah, the TCM RES sounding great, so hopefully we'll hear you more often with good conditions like that. Okay, guys, 73s, and I'll listen out. W7MS, NU6F.
Well, thank you, Ron, NU6F, W7MS, and I'm currently on the PRC 316 Special Forces radio from the UK, 5 watts, driving my Alpha 87 AC with control carrier AM, and thank you very much, Andy. It's Andy's fault. And of course, the really cute factor on this radio is the fact the headset is the microphone. The microphone is the headset, so we won't ask for any audio reports, but it is a dynamic device, a dynamic transducer. But fine, Rich, on the audio check, we'll stand by and we'll switch back to the real radio. And other comments, I think I'm going to vote, since Ron has gone the healthy eating for Chuck, I'm going to go for, it's a nice snowy, wintry morning. How about a big bowl of steaming oatmeal? I think Chuck's probably throwing his shoe at the radio, or his slipper, so that's my vote. But and I'll take the extended menu with all the entrees myself. I'll be waiting for DoorDash to arrive within the next 30 minutes. Sounds great, and I'm sure it tastes as good as it sounds. But other comments, Jerry got his feedback on the microphones. I concur with all the comments, and it was some good feedback for Jerry. Essentially, I think 7.3 is to everybody on frequency. I can't necessarily say the sun's arising, but I'm sure it is somewhere up in the heavens. But right now, it's currently snowing. So with that, over to Jerry in Forest Ranch, W6JRY, W7MS.
Well, okay. Mark, okay, very good. W7MS in the group, W6JRY. Well, you're very strong on the little radio there. I don't know what the power is on that, but the BRC, did you say it was a 316? Anyway, I'm not familiar with that radio, but it sounds great. And full audio and strong signals. I think signals may have even been picked up. But very good signals here on everybody today. I appreciate the reports on the audio. I think it's going to lead me to do some checking on the BC 456 modulator. Now I know that it's not as good as the MD7 and the ARC 5s, which is plate modulated. The 274N equipment, that modulator was, I think, a screen type modulator. It kind of makes me feel like there's might be some kind of a problem with the modulator, because it should be maybe a little more, be able to get a little bit more full modulation out of that. Not 100%, but maybe up around 80 or 90%. Anyway, another project to mess with. It's been sitting here for years, and like we are talking about picking these things up, and they all seem to have problems. I've got a lot of them on the benches over here that we're working at one time, but it ranges from 40 years ago to now, and yeah, that's the problem with this, the older stuff here. Carla, I'll take all of it, and then I went out to eat for the rest of the day. Sounded pretty good. And Rich, great career there, military career, very interesting with that, and some of the flying you did and all that. Gee, maybe you remember the time that Rick Collins was flying with, maybe Curtis LeMay. Collins was trying to sell single sideband to the Air Force, and did. And maybe, I can't remember what radios they were having on the planes then. Maybe a KW1 or something else, I don't know. But interesting. And Rich, one other thing I wanted to mention to you. I think at one time you mentioned to me that you did work at McClellan for a while. I don't know if you worked in the maintenance radio area, but my friend was, his name was Mike Huttinger. I don't know if that name rings a bell with you or not, but he worked there until things closed down. He's the one that they give him a make-do job there until he went up to Idaho, and he copied their whole file of doings, you know, the history of McClellan anyway. Just a whole lot of aircraft pictures. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, on the Viking 1 there, Henry. Yeah, I remember it well. My brother-in-law had gotten one of those when they come out new, when he first become a ham on my urging, and it came as a kit, put it together. And one thing I liked about the Johnson equipment, they were kits kind of like Heath kit, but to me, they were somewhat superior in directions and the parts and so on. To me, one of the downsides of the Viking 1 was having the 4032 final, which in later times become a little bit more expensive than the Viking 2, which I have one here, and I've had it on this net in the years past. I got to get it back on the air here sometime too. But it had the kind of the 6146s that remained kind of standard finals for quite a number of years. But yes, cosmetically, naturally, the Viking 1 was a much nicer looking radio. The downside on the Viking 2 was the 10 million screws you had to take apart just to work on the thing. That was a job. Everybody I know that had one, and about half the time you looked at them and they didn't even get all the screws back in them. I think the whole idea of the Viking 2 was the TVI problems in those days. So that's enough out of me. I'm going to say 73s. Listen out. I think I've commented on about everything. Again, thanks for the audio checks, and that'll lead me to another job, I think. So, Andy, over to you. Still very good signals. Okay on the mountain topping. Yeah, take a radio with you. You can do some of this soda work that so many of the guys are doing. There's all kinds of activities doing mountain topping now because of the improvements of the small radios they can take up to the mountains now. So that's another one of the million little avenues of amateur radio, which is so neat. So over to you, Andy. I'll be listening, but 73s, and everybody have a good day. KD6TKX in the group, W6JRY.
Okay, Jerry, thanks, W6JRY of the Military Radio Group. This is KD6TKX. Very good on that. Let's see, Ron, the motorcycle is a 51 Vincent Griffin. This is 1,000. Pull out. I started out with a single and liked it so much I got the twin, and so the single has now been sold. So the second bike to this will be available at my so hang in there. Mike, the PRC 316 sounds awesome. We got to do a 316 or 316. That would be fun. I never could figure out, and there's always a question why those spy and special forces type radios from the 60s had an AM capability. There's got to be a reason. The obvious answer might be older aircraft, but I just can't understand why they would go to that much trouble. PRC 64s had AM. The PRC 316, and a couple of others. I don't really understand exactly why, but that's DOY somewhere in there. And Jerry, yeah, very good on all the stuff that needs to get repaired. Yeah, I call it the island of broken toys. And when I'm disgusted with something and frustrated about it, I return it to the island where it can be with others of its kind. Non-working, but potentially future repairment. Broken toys there. And yeah, operating ham radio in the woods, I've done that quite a bit many years ago, and it's a really exciting way to do ham radio. And I don't do the soda thing, I just do the, communication and some of that stuff. There's no cell phones, communication. It kind of is a reminder of how
incredible radio is, really. So there's a magic of radio. We're kind of over it now because it's so common with different ways to generate RF. But when you're in the middle of nowhere with a tiny little radio, you can hear your friend's voice or the Morse code signals coming out of the radio. It's really a lot of fun. So with that, I'll say good morning to everyone. Thanks for letting me be part of the net here. And we'll fix everyone down the log. W6AQU, keeping the MOG alive up there. This is K0DWC Chuck.
Very good, Andy. TKX. Curry Mountain. With the big motorcycle now. W6 Amel, Queen Uncle. Where we are still in the clear. No wind, no rain. So I think it's all heading over to... Oh, yeah, that's good for us. We've had enough of that for a while. Alright, comments have been answered, and 7-3 there to Ron and Mike, Jerry, Steve, and Graham Spance, Robert. Good to hear you this morning. K6QK, that's very interesting there. Yeah, a lot of water under the wheels. And good morning to Carla. Well, yeah, I think Chuck could probably survive with just a granola bar. At least until lunch. And then that's a whole new ball game then. Yeah, Ron, it's a lot of fun messing with the dogs on the camera. Yeah, it's a handy thing. We have 4 of them in the place now, so wherever we go, I have my alarm that something is happening is I selected the dogs barking. So when my phone in my pocket starts having dogs barking, I know to look and see what's happening down at the fort. With that, I'm going to say 7-3s to everybody. Talk to everybody next week, I hope. And the next station at Half Moon Bay. I wish you'd get some more power over there, Bill. On 6 BCT. W6 Able Queen Uncle.
Okay, stand by for just a second. Really not much of a change. But, well, we always like to twiddle knobs here. And I don't think it's going to really make much difference. Okay. Well, pretty good on all. And, yeah, I don't know about that, Carla. Yeah, good morning to Carla. Sounds like you're busy. You aren't running a restaurant over there, are you? Serving brunch? Anyway, yeah, I'd opted me. I think I'm going to have half a bowl of Crispix. That'll be about it till lunch. And so anyway, we will say 73 to all. And everybody have a good week coming up. And I'll be net control next week. Hoping everybody back. And with that, let's see. Steve is signed. Robert's signed. So it goes over to Rich. K0DWC WA7 YB70.
Yeah, thank you, Chuck, and thank you to all. Very interesting net. Love listening to it. And I think I bring a different aspect to it, having used the equipment on active duty. It was just amazing when I found this net. I couldn't believe it. All you guys restoring all that stuff was just amazing. And Mike, my tour, after I retired, I got picked up at McClellan, and I worked for the Communications Electronics Division for, I don't know, about a year and a half. And I got selected to go to engineering on the FB 111 program. We were doing technology insertion and software, updating the F-111 at the time. That was very interesting. And I worked there until it closed, and then I got, I was a civilized servant at the time. They gave me orders for Ogden, Utah, up there, that depot, the same engineering division. And I refused orders. My son was in high school. I'm an electronics technician. I can get a job. I don't have to stay in civilized service. So then I got a job offer from Lockheed Martin, and boom, I was on my way, and then I ended up in Fallon up here. So that kind of finished that job there in McClellan. In the beginning there, the reason I switched I switched from radioman to aviation electronics technician. And what the deal there, it's a pretty good sailor, and I convinced the commanding officer to let me take the aviation electronics advancement exam for E6. And, you know, everyone's going, a radioman going to pass that? Well, I told you, I went to DeVry Institute of Technology, got my first class commercial, built all my ham equipment by hand. I passed the test and changed over, and but they wouldn't let me out of flying. They had too much money in me and too much training. Later in my career, when I got higher ranked, I went into the maintenance chief role. I run the shop in the Sawa, Japan, mobile maintenance facility up there. We did LRUs. And prior to that, one interesting sea story. I had the duty airplane at Misawa, Japan, when the Russians shot down KAL-007. Talk about an interesting flight. I could talk about that for a long time. I won't. But we ended up there off the coast of Russia looking for survivors. The weather was terrible, the Sivokast, and my guts were throbbing. Kind of very memorable experience up there. Anyway, I want to say 73s to everyone. Enjoyed it again. And Michael, I just want to do a quick radio check when it clears up. Your new radio sounds just as loud as the old one. The portable on AM, your audio is good. And why I pick on you, Michael, is you always have the strongest signal in Fallon. I don't know why. You must have a really good antenna up there, or some kind of shot directly to Fallon. Anyway, that's all I have. 73s to all. Chuck, close it down. K0DWC and the group KE6QK. Bye-bye.
Okay, Rich. Good deal there. KE6QK. Glad you're back with us, and look forward to hearing you again next week. So we'll hand it over to Carla, and then Carla will hand it back up to me. So W4DBQ to take it.
K0DWC, this is Whiskey 4, Delta Victor, Quebec. Well, 73s to everybody, and thanks for the breakfast report. Maybe I'll just give Chuck a breakfast buffet. So, anyhow, Rich, I want to say, you know, I've been listening to you, and you have had a remarkable career. Never mind, but I'll keep it short. But you're a very interesting guy. Very interesting. Would love to hear more about your background. KE6 Queen King. I have lost words for what you have done. So anyhow, guys, I'm gonna keep it short. Need some more coffee. Start the frying pan. So back up to net control, K0DWC. This is Whiskey 4 Delta Victor Quebec, saying 73, guys.
Okay. Well, it looks like I'm going to get a granola bar. My pals. Okay, guys. Well, just a couple of quick comments. Mike, that PRC 316 sounds pretty neat. It's got a distinctive sound all its own. And if I heard you right, I thought you said you were running 5 watts with an amp. Is that, you know? So, but distinct sound and very nice signal with that PRC 316. So, congratulations on that. And Jerry, on the mics, yeah, I concur with everybody else. Number 3 was the best, number 2 was second, and number 1 was barely modulating at all. Mic 3 sounded like it may have been 50 or 60%. Yeah, definitely easier to pick you up on mic number 3. And, oh, hey, Jerry, also, too, that deal you were talking about with Art Collins, they were selling single sideband. You know, it was Art Collins and Lieutenant General Butch Griswold had a KWS-1 and got into a big plane and took off. And General Griswold is the original K0DWC, and he was K0DWC when he was running those tests. And Art Collins was Whiskey 0 Charlie X-Ray X-Ray. Both were aeronautical mobile at the time. I've got General Griswold's original QSL card that I purchased from a guy back east that he signed originally, and I got my QSL cards were pictured right after that card with different stuff on it, plus a tribute to the general on my QSL card. So I've got that photograph on my wall here in the radio room. It's pretty cool. But anyway, okay, guys, good net this morning. A lot of folks, a lot of different rigs again, and that's always good. And Henry will be net control next weekend, and hope to hear you guys, all you guys, back again. So thanks for being there. You guys are what make this net great, and we appreciate the participation by everybody. And I'll sign now. 7-3s to all. This is K0DWC closing the net for today, and you all take care. Have a good, safe day, and watch out for slippery roads. So 7-3s, guys. That's K0DWC sign.